Yeah, the last point of this afternoon then are the concluding remarks, and I'm not going to bother you too much now. It's late. I think we heard a lot of very valuable results today on clinical development programs. We learned a lot about the last approvals with the new active substances. And what we discussed today, the problems with the EDSS, we are well aware of. So our message is we are not focused to the EDSS or EDSS plus. If you can justify new scales, this will be fine for us. We are waiting for your data. I can only encourage you to go for these qualification procedures, come in for scientific advice, that it is an ongoing learning process on your side and on our side. So then we will accept these things if we can follow you there. We really are open to alternatives. Regarding distinct treatment options like cognition or fatigue, we are facing the issues of pseudospecificity, so you have to convince us that these will be separate patient populations or that your specific drug is doing different to other MS drugs on these symptom complexes. I think we addressed the issues of placebo and active control and the difficulties with the non-inferiority designs and the difficulties to define the right non-inferiority margin resulting in very large trial populations. I think a very important but promising thing is the issue of biomarkers under development in multiple sclerosis. Here we are open for enrichment, the right trial population to use biomarkers in the phase 2 mechanism of action and proof of concept studies. I think it's still a long way to go to surrogate endpoints as we have to establish the link between the change in the biomarker to the change in the clinical endpoint, and this correlation is important for us. You mentioned patient-related outcomes, and I think even we as regulators are more and more aware that these outcome parameters are questioned by health technology assessment bodies, and the patients themselves are asking for this. So here in common scientific advice procedures together, for instance, in Germany, we do that together with our HTA body if companies are coming in. So how to deal with that in phase 3 clinical trials. This might a solution. I think we not can do it all in one trial. So even in one phase 3, there might be additional studies necessary for the specific requirements by HTA bodies because this is not harmonized throughout Europe. So this is a complete different story to our regulatory approach. Yeah, we discussed now in the late afternoon the two-step approach. I think we all heard your message to us to reconsider the two-step approach. If it's more or less a question of the sequence, I think there is a solution for this. As I mentioned earlier, at least we have to see enough patients with mild disease then where we can make a clear benefit risk, and then we can deal with that post-approval with efficacy and safety studies. Well, CIS, radiological isolated syndrome, I think it's a little bit early to mention that in the guideline, but if you have plans to include such patients in your clinical trials, again, I would recommend to you a scientific advice procedure to use that so that we can discuss that with you in more detail. Over the day, I thought that maybe we would have to reconsider whether we would produce a guideline or more a reflection paper or points to consider paper. We have different approaches. However, I'm still optimistic that we can realize a guideline. We will take into consideration your valuable comments today. We got a lot of written comments to our guidance, which will be considered, and we hope that within a few months we can then publish a final guideline document. I can't tell you the exact guideline timeline for this. We need some internal discussion to finalize it with the colleagues from Scientific Advice, from the Pediatric Committee, and within the CNS Working Party, but hopefully then it will be a good thing. And the key message from my side today is, so we as regulators don't like to put new hurdles to you. We are open-minded. Please come to us, discuss your new approaches with us early, and then we are keen to develop with you new treatment options for our patients. That is your job, that's our job, and the patients are the key issue and our main concern. So there we will help, and in the end, last but not least, now I like to thank again the speakers, discussants today. However, my colleagues from the EMA and the staff here, Petra, Pavel, Manuel, you did an extraordinary job to pull that date together, all the preparatory calls to make this thing smooth today. So thank you very much for this.